So Inoue manages to beat Stephen Fulton in the 8th round and manages to stop him in a virtuoso performance. This was probably one of the best performances of Inoue's career, I think. In this performance, I think he showed everything. He showed his superior boxing skills, he showed his body punching ability, he showed his stiff jab, he showed his knockout power at the end of the fight. I mean, to be honest with you, from the opening bell, Inoue, even though he was the shorter fighter coming up, he looked like the bigger fighter in there in terms of his presence in the ring. From the beginning, he was firing a very rapid jab, very rapid stiff jab, and it looked like Fulton just locked up into his shell, and he could not get out of his shell. Like from the first 3-4 rounds, he was just in his shell. He was almost scared and too tentative to actually get out of his shell. And from then on, Inoue just started hunting him down with the jab. He was very textbook boxing, but he's very athletic, so he was piecing him up with the jab, and he was going on him. And to be honest with you, even though he was the smaller fighter with the smaller reach, he was out jabbing the bigger fighter with the longer reach. And let's be real, going into this fight, there was a narrative that Fulton was the slick boxer while Inoue was the master puncher. But the truth of the matter is, before the knockout even happened, Inoue was outboxing Fulton. Now Fulton was at the time before the fight an undefeated, unified, underrated champion who was bigger than Inoue, and Inoue just went in there and completely blitzed him. Not only did he overwhelm him with his speed and power towards the end when he knocked him out, he completely outslicked him as well. This could legitimately be one of the best performances of Inoue's career up to this point. Like he's shown great performances in the past when he was capturing titles in the lower weight classes, but the fact that he's going up in weight and he's putting a masterclass performance like this on against this level of opposition is really impressive. I think at this point it's legitimate. It's like he's definitely a top 3 pound for pound type fighter at this point in time. I mean, if someone has him as their number 1 pound for pound, I can't argue with it, because at this point he's already became unified, and he's already unified in 4 weight classes, and he became undisputed in the weight class below that. So I think he, at this point in time, he's right up there with the best of them. I mean, pound for pound means that regardless of weight class, you're one of the best, but this guy has already gone up 3-4 weight classes, and he's won titles in several weight classes and has beaten really good fighters. So at this point in time, I think Inoue legitimately is one of the best fighters in the world. I mean, it's undeniable. Now, a lot of credit has to be given to Fulton, because Fulton didn't have to take this fight. Fulton already had 2 titles, and he could have easily went into a unification bout with Marlon Tapayas, the Filipino fighter that Inoue's going to fight next, as Tapayas has got the WBA and the IBF, and Fulton at the time had the WBC and WBO. And on top of that, it's very unheard of that the challenger, the champion, goes into the challenger's backyard to fight him. So what must have happened is that they must have offered a lot of money to Fulton to take this fight, like a lot of money, because usually that's very unheard of. Like the only time I've heard it happen, like it has happened in the past, but it's not common. It's not something that usually happen. Usually the challenger goes to the champion's backyard. So the other time I saw it happen, a notable time, is when Charles Martin fought Anthony Joshua. He went into Anthony Joshua's backyard, and I think he got offered, well, he got paid like 6 to 10 million for that fight, and that probably explains why he took that fight in the challenger's backyard. And I think that's what's happened with this Fulton fight. Inoue's management must have offered Fulton an astronomical amount of money for him to be the champion and come to the challenger's backyard, and not only that, for him to give up the opportunity to unify and fight for undisputed against Marlon Tapayas, and fight Inoue instead, who was a challenger at the time and a very dangerous fighter, evidently so. They must have offered him a lot of money. But I'll give some credit to Fulton. After the first 3-4 rounds, when he was tentative and in his shell, eventually he started getting out of his shell, and I think to some extent Inoue got a bit overconfident, started dropping his hands a bit, and Fulton started landing successive right hands. I mean, he landed a few, but even in that round when he landed the right hands, he was clearly getting outboxed, and Inoue was winning the round, even though Fulton was having more success with the right hands. Now, obviously, the narrative going into this fight was that Inoue was the master puncher, while Fulton was the slick boxer. And the people that thought Fulton might have won might have thought that he would have outboxed him, but no, Inoue, not only did he overwhelm him with his power at the end, he out slicked him and outsmarted him with his boxing ability and his slick boxing skills. So either way, like, he's beaten him on every way you could beat a fighter. He beat him. So from that perspective, I think it is probably one of the best performances of the year, and I think Inoue, he's a problem. Now, in terms of his next fight against Marlon Tapia, I think he's going to he should decimate this guy, and if he becomes undisputed in this next weight class, this is really Hall of Famer legendary stuff. I mean, this is very incredible. I think Inoue is right now, definitely, you can make a very strong argument that he's probably the best fighter in the world right now. But this is just my opinion. Tell me your opinion. What do you think about this? Do you think this is one of the best performances of Inoue's career? I think it's definitely up there. I think this is a really good performance, and we've got to give credit to Fulton, because he didn't have to take this risk and fight Inoue. He could have easily went into a unification bout with the opponent that Inoue is going to fight next, which is Marlon Tapia, but he chose to go to Japan, 7,000 miles away from his own home country, and fight one of the most dangerous, vicious punchers in the sport. And the finish that he did when he knocked out Stephen Fulton, Inoue knocked him out, was brutal. It was a brutal finish, and it came so quick. It was lightning quick. I almost missed it. I had to watch the replays. He landed a right hand, and then he followed it up with a left uppercut, and that was all she wrote. So this is a chilling performance, and I think this shows that Inoue is definitely one of the most frightening punchers in the lower weight classes. He's definitely up there. In terms of what I want to see him do next, obviously he needs to take this fight against Tapia, because he might as well unify again, and then after that I'm hoping that he can fight Gervonta Davis. I really want to see that fight. Both of them are punchers, both of them are slick, and seeing them both fight each other would be incredible. But I don't know if Davis's management would want that fight against someone as dangerous as Inoue. So yeah, that's my opinion. Tell me your opinion about this performance. Do you think this is the best performance of his career? And like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace.